very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all my lovely listeners. Well, yes, the waiting period is over. The person for whom you were waiting since long is today with us. She is none other than Yaffah Bhatia Da Costa. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. So nice of you for being with us. And as per the Indian tradition, we say Namaste. I join my hands and bow down to you, to your knowledge, to your expertise, to your education, to your experience. I don't know what. Well, here is a small introduction that I have about you. The reason for going directly to the interview is I have so many questions to be asked. So let me jump to the questions directly after giving a small introduction that I have for you. Joining today is Yaffah Bhatia Da Costa, founder and CEO of Ezra L'Anousim. Since 2005, my God, with 50 plus years in business, yes, I repeat, 50 plus years in business, she has worked with US Fortune 100 companies, startups, and as a manager, coach, consultant, and educator in high tech and software engineering. She serves on the board of Amizo and works closely with the nascent Sanhedrin for the disperse of Israel, supporting descendants of forced converted worldwide. Personally, she is a returnee from secret Jewish of Azores and has been active in name Enoism return movement and Torah for name no for 30 plus years. My God. She is a seasoned lecturer, podcast guest, radio hostage, trained life and transition coach, and so many other highly respected positions that she is holding. Once again, let us welcome Yafa Bhatia da Costa.
Oh, thank you, Dinesh, so very much for having me as your guest.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Well, ma'am, before going to any question, I'm just curious to know that a person who was in the corporate world for so many years and then shifted to non-profit organization, it's perfectly, totally unbelievable. One is in the north and one is in the south. How could you made it possible? How you did the transition? Why don't you tell us a short story about it?
Well, there was something in between my work as an employee of major corporations and the nonprofit, which is my own company. And
Hmm.
what was in between was I had a coaching company.
Hmm.
So when I was a coach, for example, at General Motors, I worked for a firm in Boston for that work. But then after that, I created my own coaching business and have had it for very, very many years. So I can take on a client company very easily. I've been doing my own coaching business. So it was easy then to create my own nonprofit company. Not a problem at all.
Great, great. And suppose still I am afraid because I am thinking that if I come to you as a client, you will treat me as an employee and fire me.
You know, in all my experience, I only fired one person ever, and it was for fraud. And we had the evidence that would stand up in a court of law. So, and he understood he had to be fired, and we did it in a very dignified, private way, of course. So it was not a bad experience, but I only did it once.
Great, 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 great. In my country, we have got a proverb that volcano. On the top of it there is a ice, but you are a reverse volcano. You have got ice in your heart, and at the top you are so, you must be very safe, strong, harsh, I don't know, but the amount of softness that you have in your heart and the work that you are doing is really dignifying. And for that, how you treat the volunteers who are not at all of the paid work persons. Till now, you work with those people who were paid. So hire, fire, talk to them, whatever you do. But now these are the volunteers to whom you have to just tackle with very dignified way.
Well, working with volunteers is not so different from working with paid employees if they're treated the exact same way. So, what I used to say to my employees, but they weren't my employees, they were employees of the company. If you take the pyramid
Mhm.
symbol, the triangle, and you have one person at the top, and then they have a few managers, and each of them has a few managers, and of course it flushes out this way. What I used to say to the employees is reverse the triangle,
Oh.
and I'm at the bottom, and all these people, the flat line, are at the top. And what I used to say to them is if you work for the company and you're
Mhm.
paid by the
Mhm.
company, I work for you.
Oh.
So my job is to get you the training, the skill development that you need, to get you all the resources that you need, and any help and support that you need to do your job and to do it well. And then if you have a problem or an issue that comes up, you can even come to me for advice. That's my job.
Oh. Wow.
So I would do the exact same thing with volunteers.
Mhm.
It's no different.
Oh, great. I never thought of it. Wow. Well, ma'am, in any company, especially a bigger one, according to my experience, they always think that getting the job is very easy, getting the order is very easy, getting the work done is very easy. One of the simplest and easiest way is lubrication. So anything can be, if you there is a lubrication, then anything is easy. And in other terms, there is a bribe or corruption or what. These are few of the other names for the same lubrications. So how a person can cope up in such circumstances, and you have sustained, you have proudly you have worked, how you made it possible?
Ah, well, there's a lot of corruption in the world.
Hmm. I must not say.
In the world of business, even in nonprofits, could be.
Mhm.
Uh, all worlds, all aspects of this world. But there are also very good people in this world, okay, who are the opposite. And so, what we say, some of us who are into this dimension, is there are two types of people in the
Mhm.
world: people who are service to self, they only care about self, and
Mhm.
others are a threat and have to be looked at as enemies or competition that needs to be destroyed, and on and on. But the opposite type of person is called
Oh,
service to others,
okay.
to be helpful to others, to coach others and mentor other people, to help them in their way, to rise in the organization and be that bell, ringing bell of honesty, of not the opposite of corruption, which is being what we call a corporate citizen in a corporation where you have all of the constituents of the corporation in mind,
Oh.
not just the managers and supervisors, but all the other employees, the stockholders, the
Mhm.
community, the community where the corporation lives and is a part of. All of those are called constituents, and you have to have all of them in mind in everything you do.
Great, unbelievable, unbelievable. Really, the corporate world itself is something very different. We say that it is something like elephant. The elephant has got two teeth for showing they are different, and other teeth for chewing are different. So it is said that the corporate world is something like that. And in that corporate world, most of the topmost officers, they are so soft, so gentle, so polite, so down to earth from looking or from the top.
Uh-huh.
But no one can guess when they will turn their decision, when they will shift to some other place at all. So how could you manage with those type of people, most unpredictable people?
Well, if you take the aspect of a coach and you don't say that you're doing that, okay, coach, advisor, consultant, whatever, you give people advice and you give people at whatever level information that they need in order to make what we call an informed decision,
Okay.
which includes risks that they
Mm-hmm.
might be taking, which includes the potential for backlash, the potential for negative effects, the potential for people leaving the company, for example, if they're not treated properly and according to the company rules. There's all kinds of ways, depending on the situation and from a different level than theirs,
Right.
to give advice and what we call coach.
Ooh, great. And
Yeah.
and if it is like that, then how you explain, because once upon a time you were working for a topmost company in the world, as on today you are the owner of one of the biggest company in the world or international world. So what would be your advice to people who think of shifting from an employee to employer or an entrepreneur?
Well, I've done startups, obviously, from zero, and I've done turnaround
Mm-hmm.
for a group in a corporation. Okay. And there are different skills for those two different situations. But for a startup, one thing is exactly the same as for being an employee in a corporation and turning around an organization. And I had a reputation at some of these really big companies. Two words. It preceded me wherever I went. People would ask,
Oh,
"Oh, well, so and so, what is she like?" And they always said the exact same thing: tough and fair.
oh,
Fair is referring to justice, being just with people and with decision making on behalf of people and to not do harm or damage. It's similar to the doctor's Hippocratic oath: first, do no harm.
okay.
Managers have to be mindful of that as well because we affect people's lives, not just in the workplace, but at home, etc. So tough and fair, tough internally. Okay, I could be tough with other people, but
Mm-hmm.
in a way that they needed. It's kind of like being truthful with them about their performance could be considered tough, but it actually is to help them to
Oh,
get better. So those two words, it wasn't but tough but fair. It
mm-hmm.
was tough and fair.
Perfect, perfect. Oh, what a definition and
Yeah.
explanation you gave. I loved
Thank you.
it. Wow.
Thank you.
Well, ma'am, just now you said that it's difficult, no doubt about it. But still, they are the people. or the decision maker, let us give a good name to them. They are the decision maker who seems to be angel, but in reality they can be, let me not name them. So what advice you would give to tackle with such type of people who are
Okay.
unable to, who never show their reality?
So if we're in the middle of a large
Hmm?
organization
Hmm.
and maybe we're talking about a supervisor,
Right?
okay? So what I would teach in my management classes is how to escalate about a
Escalate. Okay.
situation. It's called
Okay.
escalation. The first step is to have the strength
Hmm.
to talk to the supervisor directly. Always has to start there about how one feels about a particular situation or concerns about it or issues that they need to bring up, whatever it happens to be. And if they can't get through to the person, and in a good way, in a nice way, okay, then what they say to that supervisor is, I just need to be upfront and direct
Hmm.
with you that my plan now is to go to the next level. You
Okay.
have to inform them that you're going to talk to their supervisor, okay?
My God.
And you do that same way
Hmm.
you talk to the supervisor with respect, with giving the person the benefit of the doubt. For example, both when you talk to them
Hmm.
as an individual and when you talk to their supervisor. And
Hmm.
I've taught this for many years. And one class I gave, this man rose up and he said, well, what if the supervisor, and the next level, you do the same thing and you go all the way to the top?
Oh.
What happens then? And if at the very top they refuse to listen, to recognize it's a problem, to recognize it's something that's damaging the company and damaging employees and whatever, and you get to the very top and you're not successful, then what do you do?
Yes.
And I said to him, then because the company's going to fail, and
Hmm.
you know that, right? And he said, right. I said, that's when you leave. You either leave immediately or you start looking for your next position or you start creating your own company or whatever it is you want to do. But you cannot, if you're an honorable person and you've done your best to help them to understand this thing and they refuse, then you leave.
My God. So for that, for each and every step you are taking risk. Oh God.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, yes,
Absolutely.
yes. Oh.
Absolutely. And you need to understand that and you need to accept that you're taking the risk, that you even could be fired. And you need to accept that if that's the outcome, you're willing to accept that because it's such an important issue. This is not for minor things. This could be about fraud. This could be about deception. This could be, these are major, major things. Okay. And by the way, I'll just add one more piece of information about that story. That man who stood up admitted to me privately later he works for the government. Okay?
Yes.
So, yes, right. So, even in the case of working for the government, you have to do your best. You know why? Because you have to live with yourself. You don't have to live with any of these people in the long term.
Oh.
But in the long term, you have to live with yourself.
Right. Wow. And to convince them or to make them agree or to talk to them, even to understand them, you need to speak their language. And if I am right, you are the person who knows perhaps number of languages. So how could you made it possible, not only the languages, but speaking their language, putting yourself in their shoes?
Well, my company is international, as you
Hmm.
know. I have about 40 managing directors. They
Okay.
are directors for a particular country
Mm-hmm.
for my company. They are bilingual. I don't speak the language of the people in these countries, but my managing director does, and I coach them. in
Whoa,
English. In English. So all the work
great.
I do is in English because all of my managers are bilingual.
Great. And all the literature or the detail that you have collected or you have written or you have published or you want to publish all those things, because few of the literature that you have published I have gone through and really I admire them, and definitely I feel that they should be translated in other languages too. Do you have any such plan where you can translate your work so that the people in the other part of the world can easily read, understand, apply, and make their life better?
Yes, absolutely. We've already started translating a podcast I've been doing for over a year with
Mhm.
another woman. Um, and he's already starting to translate them into Portuguese. Next will come Spanish because most of our people for the nonprofit are either Spanish or Portuguese in Latin America. We will also translate all of our materials into French, into Italian, into Arabic, and
Oh.
other countries will come later. Oh, yes, because we need to help the moderate Muslims who are Zionists, who are in favor
Mhm.
of helping Jews and supporting Israel. We need to help them understand also the history and what's been going on, and not just about the Holocaust, but about other things. So, yeah, and other languages later. I mean, we're international, so we'll have other languages as well.
Whoa. Wow. Well, ma'am, actually, I wanted to take my vehicle in a different direction. We have named it as a rapid fire question session, but I have got such a wonderful questions for you that each and every question perhaps needs so many different and lengthy and detailed reply. But still, I would request you to shorten your reply with few of the questions which I am asking now. And let me start with one of the question, which is this: that, ma'am, you are the one that who got involved in Jewish Christian relations and interfaith dialogues. So what it is and how it helps the society?
It helps the society for people to understand each other better without judgment
Okay.
and without doing harm or damage to someone who
Mhm.
simply has different views about the creator. That's all.
Okay. And what's your assessment of current levels of apathy and difference in the world? Can we do anything about that? Is it possible?
Yes, we can, because we have to, again, it goes back to coaching and helping people understand that their lives will have much more meaning and be more satisfying if there's purpose in their life and if they choose to become an influencer for
Hmm.
good in the world, which is the opposite of apathy and indifference.
So, do you have any society or commune or the association where people who want to work with you or want to contribute something can join you?
Yes, we have
Hmm.
people in all the countries where I have a
Hmm.
managing director who have
Hmm.
people working with them, who have people associated with them. Okay.
Wow.
It's thousands and thousands of people. And then they want to influence their friends and family and the people in their network. It could be on social media or it could be person to person, face to face. Yes, this is going to get very, very large all over the world.
Okay. Because we say that any person, even a small ant or even an elephant, everyone has got their role to play and everyone has got their role to help the society or the universe. Yes, they can. You are right, perfectly right. Yeah, it can be. Well, here is my one of the special question that which is very near to my heart is that according to you, what is the main challenge that you are facing?
The main challenge, I think, is for people to understand how important kindness is in the world. It could be acts of kindness, it could be words of kindness. So either words or deeds. And I know you asked me to be short, but there've been scientific proof that a human being's voice, when it's in the mode of kindness and helping people, has a direct effect on the chemical structure of the cells in the body. And being unkind or negative or angry and all those other things also has
Oh,
scientifically proven an
hmm.
impact on the chemical structure of the cells in the
Hmm.
body.
Yes, it is. But still, world is like that. Well,
In other words, our voice has the same power, but not to the same extent as the voice of God. We were created in his image, and one of those things that we share with him is the power of the voice.
yes, it is the power of the voice. Yes. Ma'am, if it is so, so is the case, then if I'm correct, you must have hundreds of success stories that you have experienced, you have shown to the world. Do you remember one success story which you would like to share with our audience, please?
About acts of kindness, you mean? In that context of acts of kindness?
Right.
Okay, so what we do for the people of Spanish and Portuguese background is help them who came from secret Jews, help them to come back openly and publicly as a Jew, and even make Aliyah, even come to Israel as a Jew. And it's a process. We have
Hmm.
rabbis involved, we have other people involved. I myself get involved. And it's a huge, huge kindness to them because they've had to hide and their ancestors had to hide because of the persecutions for generations. So it's an extreme act of kindness to help them.
Oh, beautiful. Oh,
Right.
well, ma'am, after reaching such a high post, I am sure that you must have paid, spent your hours and hours to get one of the job. And perhaps one of the main factor is the discipline. And that is the only one which is lagging in today's youth. So what would you advise? Because today's youth, they get impatient very easily and they never think of discipline. They want immediate result. What would you advise to the youth for that?
So I had to learn very quickly in my business career and used it also for the rest of my
Hmm.
life this thing called time management,
Hmm.
to set aside time for hobbies, or if they want to be on the internet and on TikTok or whatever, internet device or application for a time, for a period of time, 1 hour, 2 hours, all afternoon, whatever they choose. But then to get results in other areas of their life, learning and research and trying to take what some of these negative influencers are saying and try to prove it for themselves that it's true,
Oh,
because a lot of it is not true.
yes.
Okay. But to do that in a way where they spend time on that, and in time, they will figure it out. But it's all about time management, the use of time, and the management of time.
Oh, lovely. Well, ma'am, I got so many other questions to be asked, but the time doesn't permit me. So, on behalf of my platform, that is the Global Speakers Talk, Yafa, A heap of thanks to you for sharing your remarkable journey and the decades of insight with us today. Your work with the especially Ezra Al-Anousim and the Nay-Anism community is deeply important, and your perspective is really a gift. We are grateful for the time that you have given to us and shared your insight and the thoughtful speciality that you have. I am sure that all the listeners who are listening now or who will be listening afterwards will definitely get a lesson and a direction to move ahead. May God bless you and give you all power, strength, wisdom, and everything so that you keep on sharing. Thank you so much. Thank
Oh,
you
thank
very much.
you.
We say
Thank
namaste.
you, Dinesh.
Together we are global speakers talk.